The night had been long, too long. Michael sat beside his son, Nathan, in the back seat of their old, beat-up car. The road ahead was dimly lit by the faint glow of streetlights, casting long shadows on the pavement. His son's fever had spiked again, and no matter what Michael did, Nathan's breathing remained shallow, his small body trembling with weakness. "I'm scared, Dad," Nathan whispered, his voice barely above a breath. Michael's heart twisted. How could he reassure his son when he, too, felt helpless? Nathan's illness had been a constant worry for months, but this was different. This felt like the breaking point. The doctor's office had given him a referral to a specialist in the city, and now, as the car hums down the empty street, Michael couldn't help but pray that they'd make it in time. "I'm here, buddy. Everything's going to be okay," Michael said, though he wasn't sure if he believed his own words. He reached out, squeezing Nathan's hand. "You're so brave, you know that." Nathan nodded weakly, his tired eyes fluttering closed as he sank deeper into the seat. Minutes later, they arrived at the hospital. Michael helped Nathan out of the car, the child's frail form clinging to him as they walked toward the entrance. Inside, the sterile smell of antiseptic hung in the air, and the bright fluorescent lights overhead seemed to make the world feel even colder, more uncertain. They checked in, and Michael was told to take a seat in the waiting area. The clock on the wall ticked louder than usual as they waited. He tried to distract himself, flipping through a magazine, but his mind kept returning to Nathan. His eyes drifted to the clock, and then back to the front desk. He wanted to ask how much longer it would be, but he didn't want to sound impatient. "Mr. Wallace," a voice called from the hallway. Michael stood, his breath catching in his chest as he glanced up. The nurse was standing by the door, holding a clipboard. She smiled kindly, but her face wasn't what caught Michael's attention, it was the man stepping out behind her. It couldn't be. Standing there, looking every bit as professional as he had years ago, was Dr. Samuel Gray, a man Michael never thought he'd see again. Dr. Gray had been Michael's best friend in college, a fellow student with dreams of becoming a top physician. Together, they had been inseparable, always pushing each other toward their shared goal. But then, one fateful evening, their lives had changed forever. Dr. Gray's wife had passed unexpectedly, and Samuel had disappeared from Michael's life as quickly as he had entered it. Michael had tried to reach out, but Dr. Gray never responded to any of his calls or messages. Eventually, he gave up. Their paths never crossed again, until now. "Sam?" Michael asked, his voice cracking as he took a tentative step forward. Dr. Gray turned at the sound of his name, his expression a mixture of surprise and recognition. The years seemed to melt away in that instant. Samuel's face softened, and without a word, he stepped forward and embraced Michael. It was as if no time had passed at all. "I can't believe it's you," Michael said, his voice thick with emotion. How are you?" I'm well. But this is... I didn't expect this." Samuel glanced at Nathan, who was looking up at them with tired, curious eyes. "I'm sorry, I didn't know." "Is he?" "It's Nathan." "My son," Michael said quietly, his heart racing. "He's been sick, and the doctors weren't sure what it was. They sent us here, to see you." Dr. Gray's eyes softened, and he knelt in front of Nathan. "Hey, big guy. How are you feeling?" he asked gently, his tone full of warmth. Nathan smiled weakly, his small hand reaching out for Dr. Gray's. "I'm scared." Dr. Gray nodded, understanding in his eyes. "I know. But I promise you, I'm going to take care of you. You're in good hands, Nathan." Michael felt a lump form in his throat as he watched his old friend and his son connect. Samuel had always been a brilliant doctor, but there was something more to him now. The warmth and compassion he showed Nathan spoke volumes. He wasn't just a doctor, he was a man who had known grief, who had experienced loss, and who had learned that the real healing came from the heart. As they walked into the examination room, Michael couldn't help but reflect on how life had brought them back together, at the very moment he needed it most. Samuel had chosen to heal others after losing his own, and now, he was doing the same for Nathan. It was almost like fate had woven their paths back together. Hours later, after a series of tests, Dr. Gray returned with the results. Nathan's condition wasn't as serious as they feared, but it would require treatment. It was a relief, but the real surprise came in the form of a simple gesture. Dr. Gray looked at Michael and said, "This one's on me. I'll make sure you don't have to pay for anything. It's the least I can do." Michael's eyes welled with tears. The kindness, the selflessness, it was something he never expected. In that moment, he realized that sometimes, life had a way of showing us the right people at the right time. And that kindness, even in the smallest of ways, could change everything. As they left the hospital later that day, Nathan, his fever finally under control, smiled up at Michael. "I'm gonna be okay, right, Dad?" Michael knelt down, his heart swelling with emotion. "You're gonna be just fine, buddy. You're gonna be just fine." And as they walked back to their old car, Michael knew that the road ahead would still be uncertain. But as long as they had each other, and the compassion of an old friend, nothing seemed impossible. In a world often clouded by uncertainty, sometimes it's the unexpected acts of kindness, the people who come back into our lives at just the right moment, that remind us of the power of humanity. It's in these moments that healing happens, not just in the body, but in the heart.